Hey everybody, it's probably a little bit awkward that I'm making a video in the middle of the day on a Wednesday, but I had some vacation scheduled, which of course my plans for the vacation got destroyed because of the COVID BS. But I decided I'm going to take my vacation anyway, got some things to do, so just took care of the yard, did some other housework so I can go play this afternoon. But in the meantime, back to the SIG clipped wing cub. And you can probably already guess right now, maybe partially, why the beginning of the video says I screwed up. And I did. And it's got a lot to do with that big hole right there. And that one over there. But we'll get to that in a minute. So since the last video, I've built the struts and got them all mounted. These end pieces of the struts here mount right to the wing. And the top one here is removable with a screw. So when I take the wing off, all I have to do is take the screw off this side, the screw off the other, and unbolt the wing, and the whole thing comes off. But I did the struts quite a bit different than per the plans for two reasons. One, because this is a modified full wing version cub, so you can see the indentations here. So I took two of these panels off the edge of the wing. So it's two full panels shorter. So you can probably see right here from the indentation and the covering the original strut mounts. So I had to modify the struts because I didn't want the struts to go all the way from here to way the heck out here. That would just look stupid. So how I screwed up is because I took two panels off the wing to modify it to a clipped wing cub. I brought these in two panels, so 1, 2. I kept that there just because there's no reason to get rid of it. And unfortunately, I did the same thing for the jury struts, which are the little guys here that give the actual support to the struts themselves. Ow! Son of a... We're going to have a talk later. But with the jury struts, I did the same thing, and this is where I screwed up. They were originally right here, so I went 1, 2 bays over. But that would have put my jury struts way the hell back here, and of course that ain't going to work. Damn it. So I've already figured out how I'm gonna fix it. Unfortunately, it did mean I had to cut a hole in my beautiful brand new covering. But the strut on the front here is actually going to be pretty easy because I'm able to mount this part here right to the spar. And then, of course, the top will be secured to the strut itself. But the one in the back is going to be something like this. So all I'm going to have to do is right in here, I'm just going to cut a 1/4 inch piece of plywood or basswood, whatever I have. I'm just going to make a rail to go across. And I'm going to make it flush with the cap strip, so when I cover it, it's just going to blend in nice and smooth. Then I'll have a place to mount my front and rear jury strut. And even though I'm pretty upset, I hate this. This really bothers me. Even though I am one of those guys that says, well, it's just the bottom. Because at the end of the day, it is just the bottom. Nobody's going to look at this anyway. But the way that I've removed it, when I put a new piece on, it's going to blend in perfectly with the edges of my cap strips. So really, it's not going to be noticeable once I put the patch back on. I mean, everybody will know about it because, well, I told everybody about it. So that's where I'm at there. I've already purchased my flying wire kit from Sullivan. These are fantastic. So that way I can keep the stab nice and strong. We don't want to lose the stab on this thing. But another thing that I did different with the struts, as you can see up here, the way they work is This is, I believe this is birch, but it's slotted. Both of the front pieces are slotted. Of course, you have to do a lot of measuring and figuring out to get these right. Normally, when they come with the kit, they're meant to be longer. They're already set for you pretty much, but I had to change them quite a bit since I made them shorter. But the way you're supposed to do it is this little aluminum bracket that goes in here that slides in. You're supposed to drill a bunch of little holes in it and then cover it with epoxy and slide it into these channels, because then the epoxy kind of makes a little, you know what I'm talking about. It locks it in there really good. I did it a little bit differently. What I did is I used CA to glue the aluminum bracket into the struts. Glue the struts on so they're one piece. Then I drilled all the way through, all the way. In fact, you can see underneath. Maybe. No, I'm blocking the light. Yeah, so you can see my finger through there. So by drilling all the way through and then coating the one side with a piece of just painter's tape and filled in the holes with epoxy and just let it be flush with the top side, because it's going to be flush on the bottom because it's hitting the tape. It can't go any further. And that makes the strongest little like key lock or pin or whatever you want to call it, and it really locks it in there good. And then this is wrapped with a couple layers of 1-ounce cloth. So that's pretty strong. And down here I did them a little bit different just because, once again, I modified it. So I just barely had clearance for my aileron push rod. So when I shorten these, I was going to slot them and run these brackets into the slots just like up top. But because I needed that clearance, I just glued them right to the bottom of the strut. And then once again drilled through, filled it with epoxy, made a nice pin, and then wrapped it with a couple layers of cloth. So these are strong. Oh, excuse me. So that's where we're at. It's getting close. I'm in such no hurry to get this thing in the air. It's pathetic. This plane has taken me so long to do just because I work on it so little. And I've worked on so much stuff in between. It's ridiculous. A video coming up here pretty soon. The Boomerang now has... Hold on. Hold on a minute. Stand by. Well, I guess I can't zoom in. That's weird. I got my camera zoomed way out to a widescreen mode for doing workbench stuff. But so the Boomerang does have a turbine in there. It is almost ready to go. You'll notice possibly a new addition here for those of you that pay attention to what the hanger looks like. We'll get into that later. And the big Zeroli Mustang is no longer here. Where is it? That's a big airplane working at Hyde. We'll get to that too. So yeah, so I got one cable that was missing with the turbine when I got it, which is the data cable. So as soon as I get that, we'll be ready to get this thing fired up and get ready to fly. So more on that. Stay tuned. I'm hoping that probably between tonight and tomorrow night I should have the struts for the most part completed. As you can see, what makes up the jury struts are just these. It's just a copper tube, or not a copper, a brass tube. So you see them here, it's just a brass tube. And you smush the ends to make them flat. And just be very, you can see it's pretty strategic on where they're bent. So once again, this is not a hard thing to do. It's just, you got to do it right for it to work. And once they're done, it's going to be so strong. I've had a lot of people ask me, why do you need those little jury struts? Why are they so important? Well, without those struts, this becomes a point of failure. So the wing could actually still fold because it could collapse the struts. And then when we look at it from the side here, it's unsupported. It's not strong. So having those jury struts going in between here, that makes these so much stronger. And keep in mind, this is an ancient SIG kit. The way the wing is built, it is designed to have these struts. You could fly this plane no problem without the struts, period. I could even do all the aerobatics I like to do without the struts, because I know how to do aerobatics and keeping the G's low. But better safe than sorry. Plus, a Cub without struts just looks kind of stupid. Oh, those holes. Oh my god. That just pisses me off. So, what's left on this? Jury struts. Fix my screw up in the wing. Get these primed and painted. I need to get the windows put in. Do a final mount on the cowl. I need to reinforce the mounts a little bit more. Drill them out to accommodate them for bigger screws. Get those all sealed in. Tank is in it. The plane's programmed to my radio. Everything's programmed. I still need to put in a easily accessible tray to put my batteries on, where I can take them in and out of the airplane relatively easily. But I'm saving the windows for last, because that's going to be a pain in the butt. Not so much the side windows, but the front windscreen. Yeah, that's going to suck. I've already, thankfully, on the plans, it comes with a cutout. Which, this is not the cutout. This is a piece of, when I used to work in the printing industry, this is one of the samples I kept. This was actually one of the first things I ever printed. You can see it's very light, kind of just a background look to it. But anyways, I cut the template out of the plans, and then I trace it onto this heavier piece of thicker cover stock paper. And this is the template for the Lexan, or plexiglass, whatever you want to call it, windscreen. And that's got to be just perfect, or it ain't going to work. So that's going to take some fiddling with. So when I get some more work done on it, I'll bring you back. If there's anything in more specific that you want to see or want me to touch base on, just let me know. All right, later.